You're looking at getting into the outdoor service industry. That's how you ended up here. You're doing your due diligence. Good for you. I commend you for that. What I found getting into this, and what you're most likely finding, is there's a lack of information on, is this the right decision for me to make? What does it actually take for me to be successful in this industry? And what I'm going to do over the next 2 days is I'm going to break it down into 4 different segments or 4 different videos on a series, and then I'll post a video once a week. Today we're going to end up talking about skill sets, traits, sacrifices, and the willingness to make those sacrifices in order to be successful in this industry. Video number 2, we're going to talk about finances. Video number 3, customer experience. And video number 4, we're going to talk about burnout, or the same concept as, is this going to ruin my hobby for me? And that's a real concern. It was one of my top concerns coming into this industry myself, and most likely, as I would gather, probably yours as well. You truly love the hobby. You wouldn't ever want to lose that love for it. Well, I will tell you that burnout is a very real thing. Obviously, that's why we're doing a video on it. And what I would also tell you is that most likely your perception on burnout, or is this going to ruin my hobby, is inaccurate in the aspect of where does it derive from. Back then, before I started, and I would say probably the vast majority of the public, maybe yourself included, would think that it derives from the concept of poor customer experience. And though I'll never take away from that, that does have some of an impact on it, but it should never be the sole reason why it happens. I would refer to this as a perfect misunderstanding of where it comes from. And where it's going to come from is it's going to come from our conversation that we're going to have now, and our conversation about finances. When you start failing in these 2 departments, you are bound to provide a poor product, which will result in a poor customer experience, which will result in a burnout. I believe a vast majority of those poor experiences is because you failed at one of these 2 steps. And that's reflecting and building on top of the foundation already, and creating that environment that you're in. As we're going through these video series, I am going to be under the assumption that your skill set in this particular hobby is extremely proficient. In other words, if you are looking to be a hunting guide or a fishing guide, by the way, we are going to be pursuing more down the fishing path than the hunting. Now, with that being said, the hunting guides don't go away. This material is going to correlate just as easy for you. You're just going to have to take an influx on some of those details. So with the fishing aspect, obviously you need to be good at catching fish. You need to be consistent at catching fish. You need to have great pattern recognition and the ability to know when to move. And most likely you are one of the better fishermen in the area. If you are meeting this or these simple tasks right here, you're going to be just fine. If you are lacking in one of these, I would probably strongly advise you to take a step back, work on your skill set a little bit more, and then pursue the path as a career, because that skill set is going to be a large segment of your success in this industry. How well of a product you can put together. It is not everything. It is not everything, but it is a large segment of it. Now, for those that are looking at this video wondering who am I to be talking like this, a little background on myself real quick. My name is Captain Jason Ellman. I am an owner-operator of an outfitter business based in northern Minnesota in a city called International Falls. I provide guided hunting and guided fishing trips. When I am not guiding, I am actually teaching. I have some curriculum that has been federally approved and allows me to teach what we would call captain's classes, or a 6-pack, or the Coast Guard would refer to it as an OUPV. So my involvement inside of this industry, inside of the guiding community itself, literally is 12 months out of the year. I've got guides I've worked with all over the country that have been through my training programs, and guys that reach out to me consistently asking me questions. So that's a little bit of who I am. I will be, as far as license-wise, I carry a master's license on the Great Lakes and inland, and then a near coastal UPV, which is why I'll be guiding in Alaska next season. I'm a full-time guide, been operating my business for 5 years. Successfully and blessed, for sure. So very, very thankful and appreciative of it. So that's a little bit about about myself, but let's dive into you and what does it take for you to be successful. Let's start with your traits. In order for you to really understand your traits, you need to grab a mirror, stare at yourself in the mirror, and take a deep, darn good look at who you are as a person. Some characteristics that immediately come to my mind: being a loudmouth. Are you quick to anger, or are you rude? Do you lack patience? Are you not humble? Do you lack promptness? Are you one that is not accountable? Are you not confident? Are you terrible in your communication skills? These are all things that are definitely going to put and play a major impact on your business, whether you become a guide or not. Now, if you lack in these, does that mean that you cannot be a successful guide? That I am not saying that whatsoever, because I do know guides just down the road from me here that are rude. Guys down on the Mississippi. I know some guys down on the Great Lakes that are that way. They're loudmouths. They talk like sailors. I can hear them 3/4 of a mile away. They lack patience. Not humble whatsoever. Not trustworthy. Not truthful. All these are characteristics that can definitely play an impact on your decision and how you are managing your trips or managing your job or career path. So having recognition on who you are and where your strengths are, where your weaknesses are, self-reflection, and bring that up and try to make yourself better, and because that will play into effect on your clientele as well as word of mouth or even reviews. We're talking about an extremely small market here, an extremely small market. If you lack professionalism, it will be sought out, it will be found, and it will be recognized. It might not be recognized on Facebook, it might not be recognized on TripAdvisor or your Google reviews, and it very well could be, but it will be recognized from word of mouth. I see it all the time, I hear it all the time. Being professional is super important. How do you act professionally? Understanding your traits and acting appropriately. Let's talk about sacrifices. We could talk about traits for days, right? Let's talk about sacrifices. What are some of the sacrifices that you might not be aware of getting into being a guide? And I'm going to be straightforward with you. You ready for it? You're going to lose friends. If you become a full-time guide, you will lose friends. The reason you are going to start losing your friends, or some of them anyway, is because you are no longer available for them. You're going to be missing out on opportunities such as parties, concerts, could be their birthday party, one of their kids' birthday parties, could be a barbecue, could be just a social gathering. You're going to end up missing out on a lot of those. You should be missing out on a lot of those if you're doing this correctly. That's where we're driving with this, right? What are some other things that I personally missed? I've missed family events. I couldn't tell you how many family events I've missed since I've been guiding. It's a lot. It's a lot. Graduations. I've missed holidays. I've missed birthdays. Now here's a pro tip. If it's your kid's birthday or your wife's birthday, take the day off. Okay? Pretty plain, pretty simple. Take the day off. There is a threshold. You need to make sure you stay inside of that threshold. All right? Don't cross over top of that. But should be getting you in the same mindset that hopefully I'm able to here on what are some of the sacrifices that you're going to end up making. Is it the right decision to meet your friends at 10 o'clock at night and go out to the bar till midnight, 2 in the morning, and then show up to the dock the next morning at 7, 8 o'clock, pick up your clients, smell like booze, give them a terrible experience? What kind of reflection on your professionalism is that? If a guide another guide asks you to go to the bar at the end of the day, am I telling you can't go to the bar at the end of the day and have a drink or two with them? I'm not going to tell you that at all. But you might want to be socially responsible. If you sit on that bar stool, your clients for the next day that you don't know are in there. They're watching you. They're observing you. They end up leaving before you ever leave. You only went in for one drink. You go out the next day and you have a terrible day. They might just think, hey, yeah, this guy just sat on the bar stool too long. Everything you do is being watched by other people. Everything you do is a reflection on your professionalism and the sacrifices in your character. Having a deep understanding of that is really going to help. One other thing I really want to kind of highlight is relationships. relationships are going to take a major impact. Obviously, we kind of alluded to that with your friendships, right? But what about your significant others? What about your kids? When I go to conferences, when I go to sports shows, and I visit with these individuals and I look around the room, the amount of divorced people and the amount of divorcees are staggering in this industry. And that's because we don't have the time to dedicate towards those relationships during the season. During the off season, you can spend all the time in the world with them, and that's fine. But they need to have the understanding, your significant, your spouse, your boyfriend, your girlfriend, wife, husband, whoever it might be, they need to have an understanding of when the season's here, I'm gone. Are you willing to make that sacrifice? Are they willing to have you make that sacrifice? That's a decision between you and them. That's not a Jason decision. That's a you decision. You need to figure out what is worth pursuing and what is not. We're out there working 12 to 16 hour days. And I'm being what I feel is generous on that. You're leaving at 5:30, 6 o'clock in the morning, at least I do. And if I'm lucky, I'm showing back up between 8 and 9 at night. There's 3 to 5 days out of the month that I'm definitely spending 18 to 20 hours in a shop. Why? Because something broke, something needed to be cleaned, something outside of normality happened that needs my attention and needs to be addressed prior to me going out the next day. Is your significant other okay with you not seeing them for 2-3 days? That's a discussion that you guys need to have. And I do want to actually bounce on one last thing. We're going to talk about the sacrifice of not fishing yourself. That's a very, very contemplating or highly contemplated issue, or not even an issue, topic around this area, this local area. I'm one of a few guys that chooses not to fish with his clients. When I say I choose not to fish, I'm saying a vast majority. I will pick up a rod between 10 and 15 times a year. And typically that's with people that know me extremely well, repeat clients, or an avid fisherman that truly just wants some of that fellowship for me to fish with them. The vast majority of times, my observation and my thought process on this is people are paying me to watch them fish. That's it. That's what they are paying me for. If you are one that has to be in the spotlight, you need to be in every Facebook post, every photo online. You need to be on the front of Costa's website or this website. You might not be in the correct situation to be guiding. And if you are guiding in that aspect, you might want to make sure that you market towards a specific group of people. So if you can't put the rod down, and you can't sacrifice, and you're not willing to do that, you might not be in the right career path. So those are my tips for you at this point in time. Some insight on some real stuff right there. Next week we're going to talk about finances. Finances are super important. If you're not making money, there's no sense in doing it because you're not going to be able to sustain it. So thank you for tuning in, and we'll catch you next week.